Through the Descent, Like the Return is an installation that comprises 4 sculptures using 93-year-old Spanish revival shingles and rebar. The sculptures reference a video that I shot in Mid-Wilshire of laborers who were, re-roofing a structure in 2017. I shot the video, and it's taken this moment to really come back to that video, to the stills that I created of the different shingles falling through space, each sort of referencing a specific person's body, a specific person's labor. They situate into this cyclical sort of motion in the space. They come from the ceiling, they come from the ground, and 3 photographs really frame the sculptures. One is this red image of the outside of a Spanish duplex, and it has this kind of sinister feeling. It's quite theatrical, with the hedge sort of cutting the very bottom of the frame of the photograph. Posing that photograph is an image that I made of rebar cages, but to me they really become like towers and this kind of vision of ascension. And I made the image, and it's very personal. I made it on the roof of my grandfather's house in Tlaquepaque, Guadalajara, Mexico. He made these with his hands, and that tower of ascension is sort of behind, or placed in front of this beautiful blue sky that really, I think, invites the viewer to enter the space and to consider, the situation between these sculptures. The title of the work, Through the Descent, Like the Return, really speaks to the cyclical and psychic nature of collapse. Descent evokes the literal fall of the tiles, followed by the force of labor exerted. There's a kind of emotional or historical unraveling happening, as well as one of memory, of home and stability. I also think that, the colonial conquest of this region by Spain and later the US marks a descent into systems of extraction, exploitation, and racial hierarchy, especially for Indigenous and Mexican people. Like the Return in the title introduces the idea that descent isn't just a fall, it's also a return to something, land, material, loss, or even the return of new possibility. Despite the descent, the phrase opens toward resilience, circularity, and survival. I think the title also offers a loop, right? What falls does not vanish. This becomes a realm where transformation is always possible. Most recently, I've been working on really trying to bring out the visceral bodily aspects of photography. And one of the methods I use is to use construction material to mount the photographs on. So these 2 images in particular are mounted on cement board, and the photograph is actually printed on a screen, a coated screen like material, to sort of reference the window screen, and being able to look past the photograph into the structure that is within, that's revealed, right? And rebar functions in the same way in this installation. It's really revealing the hidden structures of labor and its materiality. I made the work specifically for ICALA's project space, right? This room that has a very particular architecture. I made the work so that people can come in and really become hyper aware of their own bodies in the space. If the work addresses the ceiling to the floor to the corners, right? Even the shadows that are cast by the sculptures. I hope it's that people will relate to the work in a more unconscious, visceral way. The importance of this work being in Los Angeles is that actually the material of the work is Los Angeles, is its history, its material history, right? I'm taking these Spanish revival shingles, roof tiles that are 93 years old, that come from this region, were made here, and right, become a symbol of our colonial history. Right before the United States, this was Mexico. Before that, it was New Spain. Before that, it was indigenous land. Working with my father, Roberto, on this project was, for me, it was a return to home. We spent most of the time working in his garage in Anaheim. So it was really a way for me to also honor my lineage, my heritage, these knowledges that I think, can get lost if they're not acknowledged. And, I loved working with my father. This question of who gets to be an artist is something I've always been really hyper aware of because, you know, I I know there are people who have the capacity and the ability to make incredible artwork, but do not have the opportunity for higher education or even space or resources or time, right? Because they're so busy working to survive. So bringing my father into the museum, allowing my practice to open up to him and create something together that I couldn't have done by myself, it was incredibly meaningful. My name is Jackie Castillo. This work is titled Through the Descent Like the Return, and it's on view at the ICALA through August 31st.